UNC Charlotte enjoys an expanding role as North Carolina's urban research university. Research is increasingly at the heart of our service to the Charlotte region and beyond.
What happens at a university that everybody thinks about is that students are going to class. Students are taking on knowledge, so that imparting of knowledge, that's one of the big three, one of the things that happens at a university. Second thing that happens is that the learning drives us to new ideas and to research. So creating new knowledge, that's the second part of what happens at a university. And at publicly dedicated universities, universities that are looking to have impact on the world around them, translating the results, translating the learning, and also the new knowledge is the third part of what happens at a university. Our faculty put a special emphasis on translating their work and their results to have impact on both the social, the cultural, and the economic community around us.
EPIC, the Energy Production and Infrastructure Center, is a university-industry partnership to make energy more sustainable and more reliable for this region, but also globally. So we have a number of energy companies which are developing large power plants, develop the infrastructure around the power plants, but also the T&D part of it, smart grid, the transmission corridors, and the high power conductors to actually transmit this power. So EPIC responds to that industry need for the research, but also doing some of the labor force development, also engineering training for these companies. And this makes it possible for us to do applied research in the area of energy production, the infrastructure around it, and also the utilization of the power. So we have great labs, facilities, which test and evaluate these technologies on a real-time basis. The area you see behind you here is probably one of the top-notch facilities in the country to test large-scale infrastructure. So we can actually bring a sort of a three-story high building or a transmission tower and do hybrid testing, do computer modeling, but also do the real-time testing as part of the evaluation.
With Charlotte, a major urban center, UNC Charlotte is the urban research university for North Carolina, and Charlotte is the laboratory for UNC Charlotte.
My collaboration is mostly with the medical institution here, which is one of the largest institutions, which is Carolina's healthcare. And I would not be able to do my research without them, just because my research is very translational. So I was very fortunate that Carolina's Medical Center had a whole group of hepatobiliary pancreatic cancer group that are comprised of oncologists and surgeons, and they were extremely helpful and extremely collaborative for us to be able to do some translational work with them. So we have joint publications, which is something they would like, and what they really want to do is impact patient. And the only way they can do it is by bed to bench side research or bench side to bed research. And so that translation is important both ways, not only for me, but for them as well, because whatever we learn from the bench side is applicable to the bedside. And both wouldn't be possible unless we do the research in UNC Charlotte that can then go back from the bench to the bedside and actually have an impact on patient. Hopefully at some point what we really want to do is do investigator-initiated research over here, which they don't have as yet, which would be very possible if we kind of collaborate and make this happen.
UNC Charlotte has brought together a very talented group of faculty who are quite interested in applied research and translating their results into both cultural, social, and economic impacts in the community.
In the university context, we have this playground where we can work on problems that are very relevant to society, but we approach them in ways that are very general. That then we get this economy of scale of the benefit of that work. here you hear the term a lot, we do applied research. For me, what that means is we start in the problem domain. We identify the basic research that's required. We go and do that basic research, but then we close the loop and we take the results back to the problem domain. And so not only are we getting peer review of our results within my community, but we're also getting practical evaluation of the results within the problem domain itself. And that's, to me, the real value of applied research.
The learning that we work on every day drives us to new ideas, and that is really the basis for our research activity. Why do things happen? How could something be better? These are the things that come out of both our learning in the classroom, but also the conversations that graduate students have in the lab, the conversations that faculty and graduate or undergraduate students have around the seminar table. All of these things drive us to new ideas, and the search for these new ideas, that is the core of research.
To do bioinformatics well, you have to have a skill set that traditional disciplines would not prepare you for. And so if you're going to be a bioinformatician, you have to know a lot of biology, and you have to know a lot of statistics, and you have to know a lot of computing. And any computer scientist, statistician, or biologist wouldn't have that complete skill set. We have to make sure that we're on the forefront and that we are able to update our curriculum with the methods that we're developing in our lab, which are going to be state of the art over the next year or two or three. So that integration of research and education is something that is a lot of work, but it's a lot easier work to do when you're the one who's sort of pushing the boundary anyway. And so we want to make sure that our students are coming out of here trained on absolutely the cutting edge, the state of the art. And we think we're working there, and so we are very happy to do that extra work to put into the curriculum.
The research that our faculty and students are doing brings new ideas and new approaches into the classrooms and to the labs every day. Research has direct impact on the student experience at UNC Charlotte.
Active research is very important in our academic field in computer science. For one thing, it provides another path of education for the students. So we have, for example, student capstone projects that are often research projects that each of our students have to complete before graduating at the undergraduate level. We have research experiences for graduates, which is a very important program to get students involved in research. And what we found is that as often as not, these students are very high quality students that the employers really want. And it also gives them greater options, for example, to go to graduate school. So the strategy that we're following, that the businesses that we supply students to are very much on board for, is what we call the T-shaped student. So a student has depth in a certain field, but also breadth in terms of communication, in terms of knowing about applications, in terms of working together in groups, and research provides all of those activities to the students.
So imparting knowledge and learning, researching and creating new ideas, and then taking those new ideas and putting them to work, translating them into new applications. That's what a university is all about.